Epictetus once wisely proclaimed, "Of one thing beware, O man. See what is the price at which you sell your will. If you do nothing else, do not sell your will cheap." In our modern age, Stoicism is often seen as the endurance of pain or hardship without outward emotion or complaint. Yet the original philosophy offers far deeper insight. According to the Stoics, our universe operates through an intricate web of cause and effect, the rational structure they termed logos. While we may lack control over external events, we possess the profound ability to govern our responses. Instead of dreaming of an ideal society, Stoics face the world as it is, striving for self-improvement through 4 cardinal virtues. Practical wisdom guides us in navigating life's complexities with logic, information, and tranquility. Courage empowers us to do the right thing, meeting daily challenges with clarity and integrity. Justice calls for treating every individual with fairness and kindness, regardless of their status. Temperance urges moderation and self-control in all aspects of life. Though Stoicism as a formal school of thought faded centuries ago, its teachings have endured, inspiring business leaders, politicians, and athletes alike. At Stoic Quotes 365, we explore how these timeless principles can be applied today. In this video, we delve into 12 practical exercises from Massimo Pigliucci's How to Be a Stoic, rooted in Epictetus's Enchiridion, to help us master these 4 virtues and enrich our modern lives. Join us on this philosophical journey towards wisdom, resilience, and true autonomy. Number 1. Examine your impressions. Epictetus says, "So make a practice at once of saying to every strong impression, an impression is all you are, not the source of the impression. Then test and assess it with your criteria, but one primarily. Ask, is this something that is or is not in my control?" By this exercise, Epictetus teaches us to constantly examine our impressions, our initial reactions to events, people, and what we're being told. By stepping back to make room for rational deliberation, avoiding rash emotional reactions, and asking whether whatever is being thrown at us is under our control or not. Imagine you find yourself stuck in bad traffic and running late for work. Initially, frustration might surge. However, instead of succumbing to irritation, apply Epictetus's wisdom. Recognize that the traffic itself is beyond your control. What is within your control is your reaction. You could have preempted the traffic by leaving earlier, which is within your control. But now, facing the current situation, choose to remain calm. Listen to music, enjoy a podcast, take the time to practice mindfulness. This exercise extends beyond traffic jams. Consider a heated argument with a colleague. Your first impression might be anger or defensiveness. By examining this reaction, you recognize that your emotions are within your control, whereas the colleague's behavior is not. Choosing to respond with calmness and reason instead of escalating the conflict demonstrates the power of this Stoic practice. Another example might be receiving criticism at work. Initially, you might feel hurt or defensive, yet by examining your impressions, you can discern whether the criticism is constructive, within your control to act upon, or simply a negative remark from someone else, beyond your control to change. This helps you focus on growth rather than unnecessary distress. Epictetus's lesson encourages us to practice this examination daily, honing our ability to discern and manage our reactions. This not only leads to personal tranquility, but also fosters healthier relationships and more effective problem solving. By continuously evaluating what lies within our control and what does not, we cultivate a mindset of resilience and rationality. In sum, examining our impressions, as Epictetus advises, allows us to navigate life's challenges with a calm, rational mind. Whether faced with traffic, interpersonal conflicts, or criticism, we can choose our responses wisely. This practice is not merely about suppressing emotions, but transforming our initial reactions into thoughtful, constructive action. Through this, we embody the Stoic virtues of wisdom and temperance, leading a life of greater tranquility and purpose. Number 2. Remind yourself of the impermanence of things. In the words of Epictetus, when giving your child or wife a kiss, repeat to yourself, "I am kissing a mortal." Truth is, change is a universal law of nature. Things are changing constantly. Life is ephemeral. People we care about may be snatched from us in a snap without warning. Therefore, this exercise is about reminding ourselves how precious our loved ones are and that they may soon flow past. Let's appreciate what we have now because it might be gone tomorrow. Life is impermanent. Keep in mind that you're lucky to be able to enjoy the things you have, and that your enjoyment might end abruptly, and you might never be able to enjoy those things ever again. Consider the moments you spend with your family. When you hug your child before bed or share a quiet evening with your spouse, remember that these moments are fleeting. This perspective isn't meant to induce fear, but to enhance your appreciation of the present. By acknowledging the transient nature of life, you can cherish these experiences more deeply. This principle also applies to our material possession. Imagine you own a cherished item, such as a family heirloom or a prized piece of technology. Recognize that these objects, no matter how valuable, are also subject to the whims of impermanence. Instead of clinging to them, appreciate them for what they are and the joy they bring you in the moment. Moreover, this exercise can profoundly impact how we handle loss. When a beloved pet passes away or a close friend moves to another city, pain of separation is undeniable. However, by internalizing the Stoic view of impermanence, we can find solace in the fact that our time with them was finite and precious. This understanding helps us to let go with grace and to honor their memory without overwhelming grief. In professional settings, the impermanence of things reminds us to stay grounded and adaptable. A successful career might face unexpected changes. Company restructure, a shift in industry trends, or personal career choices. By embracing change as a constant, we can navigate these transitions with resilience, seeing them as natural parts of life's flow rather than as catastrophic disruption. Epictetus' teaching encourages us to practice non-attachment, enjoying life's gifts without feeling entitled to them. This doesn't mean we should be indifferent or detached from our loved ones and possessions. Instead, it means loving and valuing them while being aware of their transient nature. This balanced perspective cultivates gratitude and reduces the suffering caused by inevitable changes and losses. In conclusion, reminding ourselves of the impermanence of things, as Epictetus advises, enriches our appreciation for life. It teaches us to hold our loved ones close, cherish our possessions without attachment, and face life's inevitable changes with equanimity. By embracing the fleeting nature of existence, we find a deeper, more poignant appreciation for the present moment, living fully and gratefully in the here and now. Number 3. The reverse clause. According to Epictetus, whenever planning and taking action, mentally rehearse what the plan entails. It just isn't true that bad things only happen to bad people. Good or bad, each of us is going to face certain situations. This exercise is all about facing these situations with the best of your abilities while leaving the outcome to fate. Imagine you are being considered for a promotion at your job. Naturally, the goal is to get the promotion, but the outcome, of course, is not within your control. It can only be influenced by your actions. Therefore, make your goals something that is truly within your power, and not something that fate can rob you of. In this case, it would be to prepare the best promotion file you can before the decision is made. While you may get the promotion, there are also chances that you won't. The idea here is not to internalize the injustice of not receiving the deserved promotion, but to embrace the wisdom that sometimes things won't go your way, even if you do your best. This perspective helps you focus on what you can control, your effort, preparation, and attitude, while accepting that the final decision is beyond your grasp. Consider a scenario where you are organizing a significant event, such as a wedding or a corporate seminar. Despite meticulous planning and preparation, unforeseen circumstances like weather disruptions or technical failures can still occur. By rehearsing the reverse clause, you acknowledge these potential setbacks and mentally prepare yourself to handle them gracefully. This way, your focus remains on executing the event to the best of your ability, rather than being paralyzed by anxiety over uncontrollable factors. Another example can be found in personal relationships. Suppose you are trying to mend a strained friendship. Your goal might be to restore the relationship to its former state. However, the other person's response is not under your control. What is within your control is your approach, communicating openly, showing empathy, and making sincere efforts to reconcile. By focusing on these actions, you can ensure that you have done your best, regardless of the outcome. This exercise encourages us to detach from the results and concentrate on our actions. Fosters resilience and equanimity, helping us navigate life's uncertainties with a calm and steady mind. By practicing the reverse clause, we learn to accept that while we can influence certain aspects of our lives, we cannot dictate the outcomes. This acceptance is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, teaching us to find peace in the midst of unpredictability. In conclusion, Epictetus's reverse clause guides us to prepare thoroughly and act diligently, while accepting that outcomes are beyond our control. Whether in professional aspirations, event planning, or personal relationships, this Stoic practice empowers us to focus on our efforts and let go of the need to control every result. By embracing this wisdom, we cultivate inner peace and resilience, navigating life's challenges with grace and poise. Number 4. How can I use virtue here and now? Epictetus informs us that for every challenge, we should remember the resources we have within us to cope with it. According to the Stoics, we should use every occasion, every challenge as a way to exercise our virtue to become a better human being by constant application. Imagine the scenario where you did not receive the promotion you believed you deserved. It's natural to feel upset or envious of the colleague who got the promotion instead. You might even feel anger towards your boss for overlooking you. However, by recalling your overarching goal, be a decent person who acts with integrity and does not compromise their values, you can choose to let go of these negative emotions. Instead, view the situation as a learning opportunity and seek ways to improve your work performance. Consider a daily interaction where someone cuts you off in traffic. Your initial reaction might be one of irritation or anger. However, by remembering to exercise virtue in the moment, you can choose patience and understanding. Perhaps the other driver is rushing due to an emergency. This small shift in perspective allows you to respond with calmness rather than aggression, reflecting the Stoic commitment to self-control and endurance. Another example could be dealing with a difficult colleague at work. It's easy to harbor resentment or engage in petty conflict. Instead, approach each interaction as a chance to practice kindness, patience, and professionalism. By focusing on your own conduct and maintaining your integrity, you transform potentially negative experiences into opportunities for personal growth. The Stoics believe that all of us possess more self-control, endurance, and patience than we often realize. In challenging situations, these virtues become our tools for navigating adversity. By consciously applying them, we not only overcome immediate obstacles, but also strengthen our character over time. For instance, in a family dispute, rather than reacting impulsively, take a moment to reflect on how you can respond virtuously. Employ empathy to understand the other person's perspective, practice patience in hearing them out, and use wisdom to find a constructive resolution. This approach not only resolves the conflict, but also deepens your relationships and reinforces your commitment to Stoic principles. In conclusion, asking yourself, how can I use virtue here and now, in every situation allows you to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. Whether facing professional setbacks, daily irritations, or interpersonal conflicts, practice of virtue helps you navigate life with grace and integrity. By continually applying Stoic virtues, you cultivate a resilient and virtuous character, capable of handling life's unpredictability with wisdom and poise. Number 5. Pause and take a deep breath. As we learn from the words of Epictetus, remember it's not enough to be hit or insulted to be harmed. You must believe that you're being harmed. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation, which is why it's essential that we not respond impulsively to impressions. Take a moment before reacting and you'll find it easier to maintain control. This advice, while simple, is indeed challenging to implement consistently. However, its importance cannot be overstated. The essence of this exercise lies in rationally examining our impressions, whether they are negative, such as insults, or positive, such as feelings of lust. We must resist the impulse to react immediately and instinctively to potentially problematic situations. Instead, we must pause and take a deep breath, perhaps go for a walk around the block, and only then consider the issue with logic and calmness. Consider a scenario where a colleague makes a snide remark about your work in a meeting. your initial reaction might be to snap back defensively. However, by pausing and taking a deep breath, you give yourself the space to respond more thoughtfully. This pause allows you to assess whether the comment truly harms you, or if it is merely an attempt to provoke. By not reacting impulsively, you maintain your composure and demonstrate emotional resilience. Similarly, think about a time when you receive unexpected praise or a compliment. While positive, this too can lead to impulsive reactions, such as becoming overly prideful or complacent. By pausing to reflect, you can appreciate the compliment without letting it inflate your ego disproportionately. This balanced response keeps you grounded and focused on continuous self-improvement. The practice of pausing before reacting extends to everyday situations as well. Imagine you're stuck in a long line at the grocery store. Frustration builds as you feel your time is being wasted. Instead of letting this impatience control you, take a deep breath and use the moment to practice mindfulness. Observe your surroundings, appreciate the moment of stillness, and remind yourself that this minor inconvenience is not worth losing your peace of mind over. This exercise not only improves your immediate reactions, but also has long-term benefits. By consistently practicing this pause, you cultivate a habit of thoughtful response rather than impulsive reaction. Over time, this leads to a more balanced and composed demeanor, which others will notice and appreciate. In relationships, this practice can transform interactions. If a loved one says something hurtful, your initial reaction might be to retaliate. However, by pausing and taking a deep breath, you allow yourself to respond with understanding and empathy rather than anger. This can prevent unnecessary conflicts and strengthen your relationship. In conclusion, the practice of pausing and taking a deep breath, as advised by Epictetus, helps us manage our impressions and responses with greater wisdom and calmness. Whether dealing with negative provocations or positive impulses, this simple yet profound exercise enables us to maintain control and act with deliberation. By incorporating this habit into our daily lives, we foster a more resilient and reflective mindset, enhancing our interactions and overall well-being. Number 6. Other-ize. According to Epictetus, when somebody's wife or child dies, we routinely say, "Well, that's part of life." But if one of our own family members is involved, then right away it's poor, poor me. We would do better to remember how we react when a similar loss afflicts others. Epictetus reminds us of how differently we regard an event that has affected other people when the same event affects us. It's easy for us to be calm when inconveniences or even disasters happen to others, rather than to ourselves. For instance, when your friend loses or breaks his phone, you'll tell him that it's just a phone and he can go out and buy a new one. But when you break your phone, you might lose your calm. Similarly, when a friend's wife dies, you might console him by saying that death is a part of life, and that she's in a better place now. However, when you lose someone close to you, maintaining that same equanimity becomes a monumental challenge. This exercise is about recognizing the universality of suffering and accepting that accidents, injuries, disease, and death are unavoidable parts of life. While it's natural to be distraught over them, we can find comfort in knowing that these events are in the normal order of things. The universe isn't targeting anyone specifically. Consider a minor inconvenience. You spill coffee on your shirt just before an important meeting. When this happens to someone else, you might offer practical advice or a light-hearted comment to ease their frustration. However, when it happens to you, frustration can feel overwhelming. By practicing other-izing, you remind yourself to apply the same calm perspective to your own situation, recognizing that such mishaps are trivial in the grand scheme of things. In more serious matters, suppose a friend is diagnosed with a chronic illness. You might offer support, encouraging them to stay strong and seek the best possible care. If faced with a similar diagnosis yourself, the fear and anxiety can be paralyzing. Through the lens of Stoicism, you can strive to accept your situation with the same courage and rationality you would advise to others, understanding that illness is an inevitable part of life. This Stoic exercise also teaches us empathy and perspective. When your colleague misses a critical deadline, you might understand and attribute it to a busy schedule or unforeseen circumstance. Yet, if you miss a deadline, self-criticism and stress might dominate your thoughts. By applying the same leniency and understanding to yourself as you do to others, you foster a more balanced and compassionate approach to life. Moreover, in the face of profound loss, like the death of a loved one, we are reminded of the Stoic principle that everything is transient. While grief is a natural response, recognizing that loss is a universal experience can provide solace. It encourages us to cherish our time with loved ones and accept that life's end is as natural as its beginning. In conclusion, practice of other-izing helps us maintain perspective and equanimity in the face of life's challenges. By treating our own misfortunes with the same rational calmness we extend to others, we build resilience and wisdom. Epictetus's teachings remind us that the universe operates impartially, and understanding this can help us navigate our personal trials with grace and fortitude. Embracing this mindset, we can find peace in the knowledge that we are part of a larger, ever-changing cosmos. Number 7. Speak little and well. Epictetus advises, let silence be your goal for the most part. Say only what is necessary and be brief about it. On the rare occasions when you're called upon to speak, then speak. But never about banalities like gladiators, horses, sports, food and drink, commonplace stuff. Above all, don't gossip about people praising, blaming, or comparing them. Epictetus provides us with a list of subjects to avoid in our conversations. While we may not talk about gladiators much these days, we do discuss star athletes, movie and music stars, and other celebrities. This inclination stems from our conditioning to think that serious discussions are boring and require more background knowledge and attention than we typically associate with good conversation. Consider a typical conversation at a social gathering. The topics might revolve around the latest celebrity news, sports results, or recent dining experiences. While these topics are easy and entertaining, they often lack depth. Instead, try steering the conversation towards meaningful subjects. For instance, if someone brings up a movie they recently watched, guide the discussion towards the themes of the film and their implications on real life. Epictetus also advises avoiding conversations that involve gossiping and passing judgments on. Engaging in gossip and making judgments about those who aren't present to defend themselves is not a virtuous practice. It not only harms those being discussed, but also degrades the quality of the conversation and the character of those participating in it. Imagine you're at work and a colleague starts gossiping about another coworker. Instead of participating, redirect the conversation to a more productive topic, such as discussing a recent project or sharing an interesting article you read. By doing so, you not only uphold your own integrity but also set a positive example for others. Initially, this exercise may feel unnatural, but over time, it will become a habit. Slowly change your conversational topics and respond less to gossip and judgments. Occasionally, introduce a challenging topic based on something you've recently read or watched, and that you feel might lead to a mutually beneficial conversation with your friends. For example, after reading a thought-provoking book, share your insights and invite others to discuss its themes and relevance to current events. In another scenario, during family gatherings, instead of defaulting to talking about everyday trivialities, introduce discussions about philosophical ideas or current social issues. This can enrich the conversation and deepen your connections with family members, fostering a more thoughtful and engaging environment. Furthermore, in professional settings, practicing this principle can enhance your reputation as someone who values meaningful dialogue and avoids unnecessary chatter. When you speak, people will listen more attentively, knowing that your contributions are thoughtful and pertinent. In conclusion, following Epictetus's advice to speak little and well helps elevate our conversations and interactions. By focusing on meaningful topics and avoiding gossip, we not only improve our own character, but also contribute to more enriching and virtuous dialogues. Over time, this practice will become second nature, leading to more profound and respectful communication in all areas of life. Number 8. Choose your company well. Epictetus says, avoid fraternizing with non-philosophers. If you must, though, be careful not to sink to their level. As you know, if a companion is dirty, his friends cannot help but get a little dirty too, no matter how clean they started out. Epictetus advises us to pay very close attention to whom we spend our time with. This is great advice since life is short, temptation and waste are always lurking, and so we need to be mindful of our activities and companions. Aristotle once said that we want to be with friends who are better than ourselves, so that we can learn from them. Consider a situation where you are trying to adopt healthier habits. If your social circle consists of individuals who regularly indulge in unhealthy behaviors, such as excessive drinking or eating junk food, you are more likely to be influenced by these habits. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who prioritize fitness and balanced nutrition, their positive influence can help you stay committed to your goals. This principle extends beyond physical habits to intellectual and moral growth. Imagine you are working on improving your emotional intelligence and conflict resolution skill. Spending time with individuals who gossip, harbor grudges, or react impulsively to disagreements can hinder your progress. Conversely, associating with people who handle conflicts with grace, practice empathy, and communicate effectively can inspire you to adopt similar behaviors. Epictetus's guidance is particularly relevant in professional environments. If you find yourself in a workplace where colleagues frequently complain, shirk responsibilities, or engage in unethical practices, it can be challenging to maintain your integrity and work ethic. Actively seeking out and building relationships with colleagues who demonstrate professionalism, dedication, and ethical behavior can foster a more positive and productive work environment. Additionally, consider your personal growth and intellectual pursuits. If you aspire to deepen your understanding of philosophy or any other subject, spending time with individuals who share these interests and are committed to lifelong learning can be immensely beneficial. Their passion and knowledge can motivate you to pursue your studies with greater enthusiasm and dedication. Ask yourself about the people you meet and spend time with. Are they making you better? Do they encourage you to push forward and hold you accountable? Or do they drag you down to their level? This conscious consideration is crucial in determining who you allow into your life. For example, if you are passionate about volunteer work and community service, surrounding yourself with others who are equally dedicated to making a difference can amplify your impact. Their commitment and compassion can inspire you to continue your efforts, even when faced with challenges. In social settings, choosing friends who support your values and aspirations is equally important. If you're trying to cultivate a more positive and optimistic outlook, spending time with people who consistently dwell on negativity and pessimism can undermine your efforts. Instead, seek out friends who uplift you, share your goals, and encourage your growth. In conclusion, Epictetus's advice to choose your company well is a timeless reminder of the significant influence our companions have on our lives. By surrounding ourselves with individuals who strive for virtue and personal growth, we can enhance our own character and achieve our aspirations. Life is too short to waste on relationships that do not contribute positively to our journey. Therefore, be mindful of your associations and seek out those who inspire, challenge, and support you in becoming the best version of yourself. Number 9. Respond to insults with humor. In the words of Epictetus, if you learn that someone is speaking ill of you, don't try to defend yourself against the rumors. Respond instead with, yes, and he doesn't know the half of it because he could have said more. We get easily offended when someone speaks ill about us or insults us. We take the insults too personally, which spoils our mood and ruins our self-esteem. Instead, we need to realize that the insults, what others speak about you, is not in your control. How you react to it most certainly is. Epictetus advises us to respond to insults with self-deprecating humor. For example, if someone trolls you for being overweight, instead of getting offended and engaging in a useless brawl, you could reply by saying, yes, I'm finally getting one step closer to being the heaviest person on the planet, and then give it a laugh. By laughing off an insult, we imply that we don't take the insult seriously. This implies an insult to the insult itself without directly doing so, likely frustrating the insulter more than a counter-insult would. Consider a scenario where a colleague makes a snide remark about your work performance in a meeting. Instead of reacting defensively, you could say, "You're right, I think my coffee was stronger than my report this morning." This humorous response not only diffuses the tension, but also shows that you are confident and unbothered by their comment. Another example is when someone criticizes your appearance. If a friend jokes about your outdated fashion sense, you might respond with, "Thanks for noticing. I'm trying to bring retro back into style." This approach transforms a potentially hurtful remark into a moment of shared laughter, demonstrating your ability to remain unaffected and in control of your emotion. In social media interactions where trolling and negative comments are rampant, this philosophy can be particularly useful. Imagine someone comments negatively on a photo you posted, criticizing your choice of attire. Responding with, "I guess fashion forward isn't for everyone, but I'm having fun with it," not only neutralizes the negativity, but also highlights your positive attitude and resilience. This technique can also be applied in everyday encounters. Suppose you're at a family gathering and a relative makes an unsolicited comment about your career choices. Instead of taking offense, you could reply with, "Well, someone's got to keep the dreamer spirit alive in the family." This lighthearted response can turn the conversation around, reducing the potential for conflict and maintaining a harmonious atmosphere. The underlying lesson from Epictetus is that we should not let others' words control our emotional state. By choosing to respond with humor, we assert our power over our reactions and maintain our inner peace. This practice not only protects our self-esteem, but also projects an image of strength and confidence. Over time, adopting this approach can significantly improve how we handle criticism and negativity. It trains us to see beyond the immediate emotional impact of an insult and to respond in a way that upholds our dignity. Furthermore, this strategy often disarms the insulter, making them less likely to continue their negative behavior. In conclusion, responding to insults with humor, as advised by Epictetus, is a powerful way to maintain control over our reactions and protect our self-esteem. By transforming potential conflicts into moments of levity, we demonstrate resilience and confidence. This practice not only enhances our emotional well-being, but also influences how others perceive and interact with us. Embracing this Stoic wisdom allows us to navigate social dynamics with grace and composure, turning potential negatives into positive, empowering experiences. Number 10. Don't speak too much about yourself. As we learn from Epictetus, in your conversation, don't dwell at excessive length on your own deeds or adventures. Just because you enjoy recounting your exploits doesn't mean that others derive the same pleasure from hearing about them. We're all guilty of talking too much about ourselves. In fact, we spend about 30 to 40% of our time talking about ourselves. This is a significant amount, considering that studies have shown that talking about ourselves is strongly associated with increased activity in the mesolimbic dopamine system, the same part of our brain that experiences pleasure from food, sex, and money. The truth is, no one wants to sit through a slideshow from your latest vacation, even when presented as tiny pictures on your latest shining iPhone. No one really wants to hear another person going on and on about themselves. It's safe to say that we're not as interesting as we think we are. We need to exercise some self-control and refrain from talking too much about ourselves. This will make our friends and acquaintances happy. Imagine a social gathering where someone dominates the conversation, continuously recounting their achievements and adventures. While they might be relishing the attention, the listeners often feel disengaged and overlooked. Instead of monopolizing the conversation, try shifting the focus to others. Ask questions about their lives, interests, and experiences. This not only fosters a more balanced and enjoyable conversation, but also strengthens your relationships by showing genuine interest in others. For instance, if you recently returned from an exciting trip and are eager to share your experiences, consider summarizing your story briefly and then inviting others to share their own travel experience. This creates a reciprocal exchange, making everyone feel valued and included. In professional settings, the same principle applies. During meetings or networking events, it's tempting to highlight your accomplishments and projects. However, listening attentively to others and acknowledging their contributions can leave a more positive and lasting impression. By doing so, you demonstrate humility and respect, qualities that are highly regarded in any professional environment. Furthermore, in everyday conversations with friends and family, practicing restraint in talking about yourself can lead to more meaningful interactions. If a friend starts sharing a personal story or problem, resist the urge to respond with a similar story from your own life. Instead, offer your support, empathy, and active listening. This approach not only helps you connect more deeply, but also shows that you value and respect their experience. Another benefit of not speaking too much about yourself is the opportunity it provides for self-reflection. By listening more and speaking less, you gain insights into others' perspectives and experiences, which can enrich your own understanding of the world. This practice aligns with the Stoic virtue of humility, reminding us that we have much to learn from those around us. Consider the impact on your social circles. When you are known as someone who listens more than they speak, people are more likely to seek your company and value your presence. Your interactions become more genuine and fulfilling, as others feel heard and appreciated. In conclusion, Epictetus' advice to avoid dwelling excessively on our own deeds and adventures is a call for humility and self-control. By speaking less about ourselves and focusing more on others, we create more engaging, balanced, and meaningful conversations. This practice not only makes our friends and acquaintances happier, but also enriches our own lives through deeper connections and greater understanding. Embracing this Stoic principle helps us navigate social interactions with grace and humility, fostering a more harmonious and respectful environment. Number 11. Speak without judging. To quote Epictetus, someone bathes in haste. Don't say he bathes badly, but in haste. Someone drinks a lot of wine. Don't say he drinks badly, but a lot. Until you know their reasons, how do you know that their actions are vicious? This will save you from perceiving one thing clearly, but then assenting to something different. The idea is to distinguish between matters of fact, to which we can assent, we find them justified by observation, and judgments from which we generally ought to abstain, since we usually don't have sufficient information. The truth is, we're all doing the best we can, and we're not privy to the stories behind people's actions. Therefore, we should be patient with others, and suspend our judgment of them, recognizing the limits of our understanding. One of the things one must work on is viewing the world as objectively as possible. If you see someone you might be inclined to judge as overweight, think instead of their exact weight, which is a fact rather than the judgment that there's too much of it. Better yet, see them as a whole person with all their objective characteristics, rather than the one you'd single out. The judgment adds nothing but unhelpful emotion. See the world as it is and work from that. Consider a scenario where you observe a colleague consistently arriving late to meetings. The immediate reaction might be to label them as irresponsible or lazy. However, by following Epictetus' advice, you would instead note simply that they arrive late. This fact-based approach suspends judgment and opens the door to understanding underlying reasons, such as personal challenges or unforeseen circumstances that might be affecting their punctuality. Another example could be witnessing a friend who frequently indulges in extravagant purchases. Rather than concluding that they are reckless with money, you might acknowledge that they spend a lot. This shift in perspective allows for a more compassionate view, recognizing that their spending habits might be influenced by various factors, such as a desire to treat themselves after a period of hardship or financial planning that you are unaware of. In everyday interactions, this principle can transform how we perceive and relate to others. Imagine seeing a stranger arguing loudly on the phone in public. Instead of thinking they are rude or inconsiderate, you might recognize that they are having a loud conversation. This neutral observation leaves room for empathy and understanding, as you consider that they might be dealing with a stressful or urgent situation. This approach is particularly valuable in close relationships. If a partner or family member snaps at you, the immediate reaction might be to feel hurt or judged. By focusing on the fact that they raised their voice, rather than interpreting it as a personal attack, you create space to explore the root cause of their frustration without escalating the conflict. Moreover, Practicing non-judgmental speech helps us manage our own emotional responses. When we refrain from attaching negative judgments to observations, we reduce the unnecessary emotional burden on ourselves. This detachment fosters inner peace and clarity, allowing us to respond more thoughtfully and effectively to the situations we encounter. In professional environments, applying this principle can enhance teamwork and collaboration. By addressing behaviors factually rather than judgmentally, feedback becomes more constructive. For instance, instead of saying, "You handled that project poorly," you might say, "There were several missed deadlines on this project." This factual approach encourages a more objective discussion focused on solutions and improvement. In conclusion, speaking without judging, as advised by Epictetus, encourages us to observe the world with objectivity and compassion. By distinguishing between facts and judgments, we can better understand and empathize with others, recognizing that everyone has their own unique circumstances and challenges. This practice not only improves our interactions with others but also promotes a more balanced and peaceful mindset. Embracing this Stoic wisdom helps us navigate life with greater clarity and kindness, fostering healthier and more meaningful relationships. Number 12. Reflect on your day. As Epictetus teaches, admit not to sleep into your tender eyelids till you've reckoned up each deed of the day. Review your acts, and for vile deeds chide yourself, for good deeds be glad. Stoicism isn't just about thinking, it's about action. The best way to improve is through reflection. Each evening, you should examine your day and your actions. Find a quiet place in your house or apartment and reflect on what happened during the day. The goal is to focus on the significant happenings of the day, particularly those with ethical implications. Perhaps you spoke ill about a friend, or maybe you were helpful to a colleague. For each of these occurrences, write a few lines in your diary and grade your own ethical performance that day. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where were my ethics tested? Where did I do well? Where did I do badly? Why did this occur? And how can I improve? Imagine you had a challenging interaction at work where you felt frustrated and snapped at a coworker. In your evening reflection, acknowledge this reaction and analyze it. What triggered your frustration? How could you have responded more constructively? This introspection not only helps you understand your behavior, but also prepares you to handle similar situations better in the future. Conversely, reflect on your positive actions. Perhaps you spent time mentoring a junior colleague or resolved a conflict peacefully. Recognize these good deeds and consider how you can continue to foster such positive behavior. By acknowledging your virtues, you reinforce your commitment to ethical living and set a standard for yourself. If you think you did something that might have compromised your virtue, don't beat yourself up. Be like Seneca and forgive yourself. Have some self-compassion. Research shows that forgiving yourself, not beating yourself up, helps you stop procrastinating and encourages continuous improvement. For example, suppose you promised to exercise, but didn't find the time. Instead of harshly criticizing yourself, reflect on why it happened. Did you overcommit your schedule? How can you plan better tomorrow? This compassionate approach fosters growth rather than guilt. Don't just be critical of yourself. Think about what you did well so you can repeat it tomorrow. If you manage to remain calm in a stressful situation, note it down. Recognize the techniques or mindset that helped you stay composed and strive to apply them again. Moreover, be grateful for the good that happened today. Gratitude is a powerful practice that enhances your overall well-being. If a friend offered you unexpected support, or you enjoyed a moment of peace in nature, acknowledge these blessings. Gratitude shifts your focus from what went wrong to what went right, fostering a positive outlook. In your reflections, balance self-critique with self-appreciation. This dual approach ensures that you not only identify areas for improvement, but also celebrate your successes. It nurtures a mindset of continuous growth and gratitude, aligning with the Stoic philosophy of living a virtuous and fulfilling life. In conclusion, reflecting on your day, as Epictetus advises, is a powerful tool for personal growth and ethical living. By reviewing your actions, acknowledging both your shortcomings and achievements, and planning for improvement, you cultivate a balanced and thoughtful approach to life. Embrace this nightly ritual to enhance your self-awareness, foster virtue, and build a foundation for ongoing self-improvement. We've delved into the invaluable lessons of Stoicism and how to apply them to modern life. These principles guide us to live with tranquility, resilience, and virtue, even in the face of life's greatest challenges. If you found this content helpful, please support Stoic Quotes 365 by hitting the like button, sharing this video, and subscribing to our channel so you won't miss any future content. Feel free to leave a comment below about the lessons you found most impactful or any questions you might have. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.